Let Coach give an opening statement, and I'll take your questions.
Absolutely. Another, I thought, a very positive day. Got even a little bit more reps than we did a week ago for our ones and twos. Our threes didn't get quite as many, but just before the scrimmage started, Giovanni was the guy that we haven't had all week. He got injured last week in the scrimmage, but is coming along. I think we'll have him next week, if not the week after. We feel that. Also in the scrimmage last week, Corey Hernandez, no, he actually got hurt in practice, but Corey is getting close. Just didn't feel he was good enough to go there today. Jay Red was really having a nice spring, had a good scrimmage last Saturday. On Tuesday, unfortunately, tweaked his hammy just a little bit. So we're not going to rush him back. Obviously, it was a guy that I was going to start limiting in reps as it was. So he's doing a good job being assistant coach, getting himself healthy. Shouldn't have any issue. I don't know if we'll have him back in a scrimmage situation yet this fall. He might be able to do some skelly and some stuff like that later on in week 5 or 4, but for the most part, he's out. A couple guys got dinged up today. Raleigh just tweaked his ankle on that last run there. That shouldn't be anything significant. And then Austin just got hit on the knee. We'll check that out, but doesn't seem to be anything structurally. Just a bang up right now. So from that standpoint, stayed fairly healthy. I really like the way the guys competed. A lot of good today, some bad. Obviously had too many penalties. I told the officials in their fairness, I told them to call it really tight. If there was any flinch, any jump. One of the things that happens a little bit during spring ball is when you rotate through as many quarterbacks as we're doing right now. Obviously Austin's handling the majority of the ones in scrimmages, but the line's really hearing the snap counts of 3 different quarterbacks between Austin, Ty, and our Cajun voice command with Cole Kelly. So every one of them has a little bit different inflection, a little bit of different patience. So no excuses. We got to get it cleaned up, especially down the red zone. I thought defensively we played a lot more aggressive today, really in all fronts, and I think that was based on confidence, but also we gave them some more calls, brought some pressures, brought some double-edged pressures, as well as some other variations that helped us out. And there was some, as is the case when you go ones-on-ones, there's a case in point where they maybe had a couple first downs and a move the ball, but then our defense made a stand and was able to get off the field. I like the explosive play that Devois had, a couple others on offense as well. So a very, very positive day. Something we can build upon. We've got 3 weeks behind us, 9 practices, got 6 in front of us. I'll let my coaches go out on the road. They'll hit the road recruiting all day Monday. So we'll actually kind of back off them a little bit on Monday. And Tuesday will be a helmets only, our last one by our NCAA rules that I have to have. So Tuesday will be a significantly lighter practice. We'll get great work days Thursday. Next Saturday, I don't think we'll have a scrimmage. It'll be a full-fledged, grinded-out practice, and then, of course, end with a scrimmage on the 29th. But other than that, I'll answer any questions.
You said Austin got hit on the Austin
Caps. Or I'm sorry, Cantrell. Cantrell went out there late. I don't know when you guys left or worked over here, but maybe the last series just a little bit.
Caps was a show.
Caps actually. He had a bruised butt on Tuesday that got pushed over a pile, and we were giving a little bit of heat about that. But played through it, and really has had a good week of practice. And then when he went out there, he actually got just the wind knocked out of him. Got landed on and knocked the wind out of him and came back out. Yeah, Mike, I think last week, if just to his story, he was a junior college player that we brought in late, wasn't able to play last year. We never scrimmaged after he got here, had not scrimmaged really all throughout the fall with him. He had played scout team, outside linebacker, defensive end, and then obviously, so last Saturday was his first live scrimmage in a year and a half of football. So I think it was a little coming at him a little fast, so I thought there'd be a big jump, and there was today. I think he plays fast. He's got good hands. He's a guy that probably could play our hog or defensive end. I think he's a versatile athlete and is a playmaker. I'm excited to watch him.
Well, you think you got a bunch of sacks today? It looked like, 8 or 9 sacks.
Yeah, I think 2 things. First, when Frank goes down, and then also Paul Ramirez unfortunately lost his grandmother on Thursday. Thoughts and prayers are with him, and so that pulled him out of the left tackle spot, which moved Jake Robertson out of the guard spot and tackle, and there was just a lot of, and then it put Shane Clennon in there, and there were some guys that we just kind of, broke down a little bit. But I thought, during the course of the week, our pass pro, especially with our one unit, had been pretty good. And then if they got near Austin, I was kind of blowing the whistle a little bit premature, probably.
What's Gibson done to earn his way back?
You know what? He's done everything we've asked of him, Nate. I was very upset with him, sat him down. We had a good conversation. He's done well in the classroom. He's very conscientious. He's been practicing his tail off and off the field, other than one missed assignment that we had him turn in, or he turned in. He's been doing everything right, and I shared with him after week 1, if you continue to do those things, I'll lift my reprieve and let you have a chance to run with the ones, because I do love to build continuity, but I think he's learned his lesson, and hopefully it's a positive step in the right direction.
What do you think of
J-Day was really good. 24, yep. Again, I said it last week, I believe. He's playing as good at football as he's played since he's been here. He's a tall back. He's a tall back that plays with power. But as you saw in that one move, too, he's got a little juke in him. I'm excited. I think, he was a kid that was recruited here and obviously wanted to get on the field. Unfortunately, he's had a lot of, just bad luck, a couple of bad luck injuries, and we'd love to see him have an opportunity to get on the field and do some good things for us this fall.
Adding the blitzes really helped Kevin Richardson out.
Well, I think it did two things. It helps everybody on defense, and it puts the offense on alarm. They're not able to predict where guys are coming, the fourth rusher, let alone a fifth rusher. K. Rich, we feel really good in, obviously, that nickel spot, and does some good things, and he's a very explosive player, a guy that really can play all 5 DB positions. But, yeah, I think the pressures today allowed us to do some things defensively.
Brett, I guess the NCAA approved the 10th assistant. You had said that you kind of knew what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Can you shed any more light on that?
Yeah, without giving away who I'm talking to or what I'm doing, I reached out to the person I was talking to, but it's still got one more hurdle. It's got to clear another vote at the end of the month, and then the way it's been worded, it's really not going to have an effect on this season, so it'll be implemented in January. So I think there's going to be a lot of jockeying and a lot of, and then because of the timing of it, because they put it in January, obviously it's going to happen with all the transition and next year's coaching changes. So we'll just kind of stand status quo and see where it goes.
Earlier in your career, when the spring games weren't televised maybe as much as they are now, how much has that discussion changed about what you guys show and don't show?
Good point. Obviously we're putting in a whole new defense. Yeah. So, there will be some things that we do and don't. Obviously we invite you guys in, so I'm not saying you tell everything, but you know what I mean? In today's world, it's kind of hard to say we're keeping anything under wraps. There is definitely probably some things on both sides of the ball that we won't necessarily showcase or put out there. And but on the same side, that I do like going later, because I like a little extra week or two of conditioning. That puts us on that last weekend. Will be one of the last SEC games on. I'm sorry, the last SEC game, one of the last few in the entire country, and we do use that in recruiting.
Did some conditioning things after today.
He just did 5-yard reminders. We did up downs. I felt, offensively there's some penalties and some miscues defensively. Had a face mask and some things broke down that I just felt we mentally needed to be a reminder. Plus tomorrow's Easter and we're backing off on Monday, so give them a little wind out their sails.
Looked like you used Ramirez and Coley with the first unit on safety, so what's going on with that?
He-
Find out.
Yeah, Josh, we tried 2 different things. We played him at the opposite safety position he'd been playing, and then we also used him in nickel, so kind of just away. The good news, I think we have probably truly, 6 to 8 DBs, and then Nate Dalton came in and did some good stuff. So there's a handful before we even get a couple of these freshmen coming in, and I think Corey Hernandez is in a position that might help us. So we're probably a little bit deeper and better at that position. One of the things that we hamstrung the defense still, we wouldn't let low tackling and those perimeter tackles on those bubbles and stuff. A lot of times they'd come up and cut tackle there, and we're putting them at a disadvantage just with that rule that I'm not allowing them to cut tackle.
This cut didn't scrimmage last week, right?
What's that?
Burrito.
He didn't, Bob, you're right.
And he had about 6 tackles.
Yeah.
What you think?
Well, I've liked him since he got here. Last year before he got injured, he was a guy that we were talking about. We just felt last week he wasn't quite there yet, and I kind of kept asking him every day this week, how you feeling, and he wanted to go. So it was good to see him pull the trigger. He's very intelligent. He's a very long corner. He's got great length in his arms and legs, and a pretty intelligent kid. He's a guy that we're excited to get in the mix of.
Missed a pretty good bit of Brandon Marshall there.
Yeah, that was a big-time catch. I'm sure you guys saw in the back. The one thing that was very apparent from the first practice on, him and Jonathan both, they've got really good ball skills. They understand route concepts. They understand football, I think, fairly well. I tell you, the handful of guys, the 8-9 guys we brought in January, really what they're doing academically and what they're doing for us on the field has really been a special addition to spring here. If we take those 8 or 9 guys out of it, we can't function near as well as we have through these first 3 weeks of spring ball. So to get those 9 guys in, obviously 2 junior college wideouts, and then to get those 6 3 linemen, a quarterback, a running back, that's 5, and 7 offensive guys in was a pretty big deal.
Paul said he wanted to see better tackling and fewer big plays. You think score on both accounts for the defense?
Well, there were still a couple big plays, but I think we did minimize those, and a little bit of them, I think, again, came from some things we're just hamstringing our defense with. But I think that came, and then when we had the one defensive penalty, I know we had a face mask, we had a DPI in the end zone, which is a great teaching point. I know Ryan didn't want to hear it, but there's a great teaching point for him to learn about turning and looking for the ball, and hopefully that goes forward.
With all that depth in the secondary, has anyone emerged as a leader so far?
I think I really am happy with the growth of Santos Ramirez. I think he's maturity-wise, coachability, all the things are very, very positive. Josh has always been a pretty stand-up leader. K. Rich has always been a guy that, as coaches, we lean on. So those 3 jump out. Andre, I think, took a step forward today. I saw him make a couple plays. Andre's a very gifted player and a guy that I really would hope would have a great senior year.
Josh Harris still kind of 5 height, is still bigger.
Yeah, Nate, and unfortunately, he left Tuesday's practice with a strain on the knee, and sat out a little bit of Thursday. We didn't know if he was going to go today, but of course he sucks it up and goes. So, he's a guy. Him and Grant Morgan both are kind of unsung heroes in there. Both maybe a little bit undersized, but got huge heart. They got great, good football IQ, and they have tremendous hustle. Yeah. Yeah, TJ last week struggled a little bit, and one thing TJ Hammond's got, he's got a lot of pride, he's got a lot of talent, and to transition to that wide receiver spot, I think has been natural for him. He just has to continue to catch balls in traffic. I don't think he put one on the ground today. There was a little juggle out there to the left, but it wasn't a great throw. What we like is with him, when he gets football in the open field, he's tough to bring down. He's got a low center of gravity. He's very strong for breaking tackles, and he also has really quick feet to make a miss. So he's really the trifecta as a ball carrier, and hopefully someone we can incorporate.
Going into his 3rd season as offensive coordinator, how is Coach Enos kind of involved in that role?
Well, Dan's a shooting star. He's a guy that he's extremely talented offensive coordinator. He's, I think begins every year he's here. I think he does a better job of inventory of what guys do well or don't do well. We know our fleas. We stay away from the things that cause us problems. I think as a coordinator, one of the biggest things you got to accomplish in the spring is find out who that next wave of talent is. Who are the guys we can do special things with? So the development a little bit of C.J. O'Grady, guys like T.J. Hammonds, guys like when you get Brandon Martin in the mix, it's fun to see him utilize those guys and see how we can bring them to full use.
I think the progress is.
Go ahead.
How did his previous head coaching experience help him in that role?
How does previous head coaching? I think once you sit in a seat, and you stand in front and you're accountable for everything, it probably puts accountability, but I don't think the accountability, from what I've known of Dan before I even met him to where he is, that's never been an issue. So I think the head coaching experience just helps you deal with everything. You know what I mean? You're so used to making big decisions, making things that affect people's lives, and the accountability that you have with that. So I think the value is that he's been under pressure and knows how to handle it.
What do you think of the implementation of the 3-4? You like the progress you're making?
I do. Up front, we got multiple guys. You saw some guys roll through the ones. I think inside Austin Capps and Bijan really, in my opinion, took a big jump today. I know nose guards don't stand out to everybody, but I saw him do some things. At the one end spot, we have obviously with Sosa, who's got a lot of talent, and behind him, Briston, 2 guys that kind of play similar style there, and both can bring some nice things at the other end spot. Really have a mixed bag between Armand Watts, who's playing as good a football. He took, he was in a little battle with Yelda in there the other day, and he just kind of threw him and shucked him, and everybody was shocked, when you're sitting there watching the film. So a guy that's coming along, T.J. Smith, Jake Hall's done some nice things. It's fun to watch that group grow.
Yes, Smith and Gidry both had several tackles for loss.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys.
Yeah, TJ, he's kind of one of those quiet guys. He don't say much. Came out of Colquitt. He was a transfer out of North Carolina and went to a great program, and we recruited him. And I think when we first started recruiting him, he weighed like 230, 235, and now he weighs 275 pounds, and uses his hands, he plays well, he's very coachable. I think Briston Guidry, first time I saw him as a sophomore in high school, I fell in love with his athleticism. He's got a great demeanor. He's a pleaser. He really wants to do well by people, and he's got a big heart that I think can continue to propel him.
I think you mentioned Alexi.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Alexi last week, unfortunately had a foot break in his foot that similar to some of the ones we've had with with Jay Will and Cody House. So he had surgery on Monday, probably looking at a four-month recovery. So he's unfortunately out for a pretty significant amount of time.
Brett, I didn't see Blake Johnson.
Yeah, well, good point. I'm sorry. Can't get anything about you guys. All right, I'm not trying to. Blake, our punter, unfortunately rolled his ankle in some activities away from football that I'm not very happy about. So I removed him from the program for a little bit. Let him go home this weekend and celebrate Easter weekend by himself in his apartment. And I'll make a decision Monday if I let him back in. He's got full use of the academics, but there's a reason that when you become a starter in this program, you have a responsibility to everybody. And if we had to punt in a live game situation today, he wouldn't have because of things that weren't involved here. And I don't need everybody to stay in their house and watch movies every night, but I definitely don't need him to have anything taken away from the game when he's not here. So he'll come around. He'll be all right.
So is he suspended? Is it accurate to say he's suspended?
For about another 24 hours, if you want to write that. Yeah. I just told him I didn't want to see him today. You know how do you have children, right? I don't have children yet, but I'm assuming there's some point where you just don't want to see anybody. Just send them away. Send them in the other room. Timeout. He's in timeout. He's in extreme timeout. What's that? Connor did a really nice job. Connor Limpert, and the ball comes out. He's a left-footed punter, so it comes out at a very unusual spin. It's very frustrating for our return guys.
Curious about left tackle and how Colton's.
Yeah, I'm very. I know Curtis as well. I thought Colton had a really good auto season, and through 2 scrimmages, he didn't. I'll watch obviously the film, but he's done very well, and he had 2 false starts, which we're not going to allow. He's a guy that's he's so smart. He's trying to jump snap a little bit, but athletically and body type, you can't go out and find anybody better than what he is. So he's going to have a big summer. It's going to be good to have a little bit of competition. Paul Ramirez was playing really good football. Unfortunately, obviously, Grandma passed, so we haven't had him Thursday or Saturday. But Paul was playing really well at that left tackle as well. So those 2 guys together, I think, are going to be able to do some good things.
Looked like there was more pressure on the quarterbacks today. How did you feel like they handled it?
Yeah, the quarterbacks are I think the quarterbacks knew today we were going to started bringing them on Thursday. Some double-edged pressures, which means you're going to have to throw the ball hot. The nice thing about 3-4s, you really don't know where they're coming from or how they're coming. So the one thing Austin does really well, probably than the other guys, he stepped up and made plays. When they're coming from the edge, our protection allows guys to run them up the field with the idea that the quarterback's going to step up. And again, just because Austin has more experience, that went well. I know Dan got all over Cole. He tried to jump out to the right, and that's not the right answer. You want to step up and make plays.
How did you feel that you back up?
Again, some good and some bad. They do a lot of really good things. I think Ty's got a great comprehension of what we're asking him to do. He's throwing the ball really, really well, and of course, mentally, he's as sharp as they come. But he just needs reps under pressure. And then Cole, he makes some really good throws, but then he gets into the habit a little bit. He wants to baby the throw or kind of slide it or push it in there, and he just got to step up there, use his footwork, and deliver strikes, and good things will happen.
Brett, I know Jared would be a punt returner normally.
Yeah.
Riley back there, and I guess Jordan Jones. Would you really consider Riley?
No, he's back there probably.
He's back there.
Yeah, was Raleigh back there
Yeah.
during the punt part? I was concentrating on he's not a punt returner. Yeah, he must have got him.
He's back there catching.
Yeah, well, 2 things. Jay Red was down, and then Dion is a punt returner. Does really not Dion Stewart, but he had the ankle, and we were trying to literally just save him for reps from the line of scrimmage. So really, our top 2 guys, and then there's some of the freshmen that we could factor into it, and then Jordan Jones. We're using some of those guys, so that was punt priority. So anybody that can be a punt returner and they're on punt has to stay over there. Does that make sense? So there's some guys who are working punt team as our ends that would naturally be punt returners.
So Riley was helping.
Yeah, Riley's just helping out. He may think he's going to be a punt returner, but he ain't going to be a punt returner. Could be a kick returner.
With K-Rich being able to rush
around the end so quickly like we saw today. What does that do for the versatility of the defense?
Well, again, he lines up as a nickel backer out there, and all of a sudden he's coming. He's a little bit different than those other guys, but again, if you get your hands on him, he bounces easily. So it's a little bit of positive in one regards, but once the defense picks him up, it's a different thing. But again, the multiplicity and to be able to have variation of where people are coming is a positive.
Last one.
Something happened at the end, so you were.
Right.
What was going on?
No, just the conversation that I had about where we're at and what we're doing, and a little bit of coaching moment one-on-one, and an opportunity to get better.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.